Good morning. This is Roddy. Okay, it's Roddy here. So today I'm gonna be practicing my English again, and I'm gonna be talking about um, a, an important figure, a fictional character from a famous and legendary anime TV show, and how this character reminds me of my old days in English, if you will. Okay, so here he is. All right, it's a little noisy here because there are motorbikes, running in the background sometimes. So yeah. Anyway, so here I've got this fictional character here. His name is Gohan, or Future Gohan to be precise. So Future Gohan is from the world of Dragon Ball. And he's like a role model for me. He's really tough, an amazing guy. He is courageous, strong in my view, really strong, but not in the way that you may be imagining. I'll explain in a second. But he's really strong here in his heart and in his mind. He's strong mentally and emotionally. He is just strong, okay? And then he is resilient, okay? He faces setbacks, he faces trials, and he just does what he can to overcome setbacks, okay? And he always finds himself in extremely disadvantageous situations, but then he keeps fighting nevertheless, because it's the right thing to do. Okay, so let's have a little bit of Dragon Ball history, if you will, and then I'll explain how he reminds me of my old days in my English language journey. So, Future Gohan obviously is from the future. Okay, let me put this down. Okay, so Future Gohan here, our boy, he is from the future, and in the future timeline, his father, Son Goku, future Son Goku, dies of a heart disease, and so the planet Earth basically loses its most powerful warrior, most powerful defender. And so Gohan and his friends and his allies are left to fight for themselves. Okay? Now, okay, so now, in the future timeline, future Goku is dead. Gohan and his friends are left to fight for themselves. And the problem is, there's a looming danger, really, to the human race, and to basically Future Gohan and their friends, their allies and the friends. So the looming danger is, there is this crazy militaristic imperialistic tech organization called the Red Ribbon Army. And the Red Ribbon Army creates 3 powerful androids in the future, namely Android 18, Future Android 18, Future Android 17, and Future Cell. So, what's the problem? In the future timeline, apart from the fact that future Goku is dead, everyone else is underpowered. Future timeline Vegeta is not as powerful as the present timeline Vegeta. That's number one. Number two, everyone else, Piccolo and their friends, they are not as powerful as their present timeline counterparts. So it's a very desperate situation. Now the problem is the future androids, particularly future Android 17 and future Android 17 and future Android 18, while they are not as powerful as their present timeline counterparts, they are nevertheless still more powerful than Future Gohan and his friends and his allies. So it's a problematic situation now. And so because Future Gohan and his allies and his friends are truly underpowered against the androids, in the beginning, Vegeta, Piccolo, Krillin, Tien Shinhan, and all the rest of them, except Future Gohan himself, they die. Okay, they die. They get killed by Future Android 17 and Future Android 18. Now, so only Gohan survives. That's the problem. Only Future Gohan survives, and then Future Trunks is born. Okay, and then basically Future Gohan is the only original Z fighter left, and then Future Trunks is too young, and he doesn't even know his own father because Future Timeline Vegeta is dead. Okay, so what does Future Gohan do? Future Gohan, knowing that he's not, as strong as his father was in that particular time, is like left without any choice. He trains himself, he teaches himself techniques, works on what he has. Presumably teaches himself to transform into Super Saiyan 1. Okay. And as Future Trunks grows up, our boy here, Future Gohan, trains and teaches Trunks because for some reason Future Gohan believes that, number one, he's not strong enough. Number two, Future Trunks is the only hope. And the only warrior that Earth has left to protect. Earth itself. Jesus, it's too noisy. Earth itself. Okay. So that's what Gohan believes. He believes that apart from himself, only Future Trunks can save the world. Only Future Trunks can save the world. Now, that's what Gohan believes. So he trains himself, teaches himself, and then teaches and trains Future Trunks as well, with very minimal resources. Okay? And then in the end, he saves Future Trunks so that Future Trunks can, basically train more, fight more, and like he sacrifices himself. Like he fights Android future Android 18 and future Android 17 one last time, and then he dies. And then basically Trunks is left to train himself and to fight. Right. So, how does this remind me of my, my old days? As an English language learner. So just like Future Gohan, way back, like more than a decade ago, and in fact even 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, I only had very limited resources because I was poor, like literally poor. I was poor, okay? I didn't have much access to the internet, and I only had like my friends and the very few pieces of technology to use in order to learn English. Okay, people are chatting behind me. Anyway, so that's it. So I had very few limited resources, and obviously my economic resources were also limited too. Money, okay? I had very little money. So I only learned from books and from movies, because at the time there were no English language tutorials on YouTube, and even if there were, they were very few. Okay, I really had no one. I really had no one to teach me English. Well, apart from my English language teachers, of course, but we would only study like English for 1 hour a day, and we would only study like grammar or I don't know, read stories, things of that sort. Okay, but I wasn't taught how to speak in English, or I wasn't trained to speak in English. Nor was anyone else. I and my classmates were never trained or taught to speak in English. We were not. None of our teachers taught us or motivated us or encouraged us to practice English as our second language. So I had no one to really depend on when it comes to learning English at that time, except myself, basically. And luckily, I had a friend who had like books about different sorts of things, and so I would borrow his books and have them photocopied. And then I would watch documentaries about anything that I was interested in. So, and it was always in English. And so that's how I learned English, really. Okay, now when it comes to speaking, I just trained myself. Just like Future Gohan, he had no teacher. Okay, he had, in the future timeline, he has no teacher because, every teacher that he could possibly have, Piccolo or Vegeta or anyone else really, is dead. Okay, he has no teacher. He has to teach himself. He has to manage with very limited. He has to manage with very limited. He has to manage with very limited resources that he has. So that's what I did way back. 2 decades ago, more or less. I had to learn English with the help of very limited resources. I didn't have anyone to train me and teach me to speak in English. I didn't have anyone. I just had myself and the very limited materials that I had. So that's how this boy, Future Gohan, reminds me of those early days, early days of mine as an English language learner. Okay, so thank you very much for listening and good morning.